Hey everybody, it's MarVeena. Welcome to my Angel Q&A. Today in this video, I have some good tips on how you can create a closer connection to your own angels working out in nature. First of all, what you want to do is to kind of be a part of this sacred space and join in by typing your name and where you live at. Type that in the comments. And if you have a candle, you can light a tea candle or some sort of a candle. It doesn't really matter what color you use. If you would like to burn some incense, you can do that. But when you light a candle, that is a great way to send a signal out to the universe that you are aligning yourself with the light. And you also want to create a rock solid intention for what you would like to get out of our session today. So anytime we do ceremony, we want to be very mindful about creating intention for that ceremony. And I think it's best if you just dial into one question, no more than three. And if you really keep your heart open and your mind open, then you're going to have a really good chance of tapping into some of the ideas or information, maybe even through somebody else's question. Your question might get answered, but we have to just really keep our heart and mind open to receiving that. So that helps to kind of set you up for success. So type your name in and welcome everybody. So Facebook has totally turned their live feed upside down. Like none of it is like the setup is totally different. So I am not a geek, so it took me a while to kind of get it all figured out. But you know what? It's just kind of a part of the times. We are just going through what I call a chaos move. And that means that we just go through these different qualities of time where there are different times where everything sort of goes smoothly, and then you have this huge chaos wave that comes in from out of nowhere. And one of the things that it is really stirring up, it's stirring up our shadows. So if you get onto social media, and I recommend you unplug as much as possible, but if you do get on there to check your messages and whatever, you will notice how much people are in fear over all of this flu situation. And it is really, it is bringing up stuff that is bad and ugly, and it needs to be dealt with. So when you find yourself getting triggered and getting angry, that is a perfect time to get really dialed in and ask your angels to sit with you. And what I like to do is have a place in nature that I can go to, either physically, like outside in the backyard or in the front yard, or have a special tree that you really feel like you feel safe in, or you feel connected there, or it feels like a special place around where you live, or a park, or just something that makes your heart happy. If you have those different areas, then that is it's kind of a place that's supportive of your energy. And what works for you may not work for your husband or your children or your best friend even. So each one of us have a unique sort of a fingerprint to the universe, and the places in nature that are going to really call to you are going to be different for everybody. So I have a lot of land around me, and there are just different times where I'm drawn to one area or the other to do my yoga session, or to meditate, or to just sit and watch the dogs play, or watch the horses play. But find your place. And if the weather is bad, then you have to use your imagination to sort of go to your place. But there is so much with the nature elements like the earth energy and the air spirits and the fire spirits and the water spirits, that they can combine and work together with your own angels to help you to ground, to help elevate your consciousness, to kind of fire up your motivation to follow through with your soul's highest blueprint and your soul's sacred dream, and to help inspire you on how to move forward. So that is, it's going to be a little bit different for everybody, and you have to find what works for you. A lot of people are really working through some sadness and just a lot of their stuff. So now more than ever, we need to take advantage of the tools that we all have in our back pocket, and like the special gifts that were that they came in with us, that God sent with us whenever we decided to have a physical incarnation, and that's our angel guides, our spirit guides, our master teacher guides. So we want to figure out what's going to be the best way for us, and different situations call for a different approach. So there are times where you might need to experience healing and really want to work with your angels to get some healing, either energy work or some ideas that you can combine with your meditation practices and other spiritual practices. So I've had some amazing meditations in my house, in my meditation room, in my bedroom, but I've also had some really awesome meditations outside where I've been able to connect to the angels in a really powerful way and have confirmation through the nature spirits. And that's always exciting. So you look for confirmation through the birds, through the clouds, the formations of the clouds. There's just all kinds of different ways that you can have a question in your heart and have that answered through the angels with the nature spirits if you are open to receiving. And that is another piece that you want to kind of be mindful of, is just honoring your own ability to connect. And don't think that that is something that somebody else does, because each and every one of us have the ability to discern, but we really have to fine tune our skills of discernment. And there are so many different ways that we can do that. But a really simple one is to, and we have to like train yourself, just like you go to the gym and you train your muscles and you build your muscles. We have to train ourselves to dial in on how we are receiving data, and if it has a resonance of truth, or and that might be a truth for you, and you want to know also that what is a truth for you may not be a truth for your neighbor or someone else, but what resonates to you and what is the truth to you. So one of the really simple tools that you can use, and this is like a kind of a body talk way system of receiving, or even hypnosis. There are a lot of different ways, but I just trained myself to move to a yes for me, like a truth would be like a head nod, and a something that is not for me, or not a truth for me, or not valid at this time, or not in my highest best good would be I would pull away. And our body intuitively understands that idea. So that's why it's such a simple one. You'll even see babies, like whenever you feed them, it's like they come to it, and whenever they've had enough, they pull back. But you can just start to teach yourself how to discern what is something that's going to be relevant for you. Like if you get an idea, you're meditating and you get an idea and you think it's from your angels, and they are suggesting perhaps that in order to cure a particular situation, to drink more orange juice. And so it's like if you want to get a yes or a no, what I do is I just say, I just feel how your body is flowing to that. If it's a yes, then your head will kind of bob forward. If it's a no, then it goes side to side. And that is just a real simple way. You can always use a pendulum, or there's different types of other ways that you can get your yes or no. Excuse me. But one of the big things that is coming about because of this flu pandemic is stirring up our shadow pieces, and particularly where we might lean towards a victim consciousness. And and one of the that's one of the big messages that our angels want to kind of be sure and let everybody know. If you catch yourself going to I'm gonna have to get myself a drink here, sorry. If we go into a victim consciousness, then what we're doing is we're lowering our vibrations, and we are vibrating towards illness, we're vibrating towards even more chaos, towards more of what we don't want. And if you notice on a lot of social media posts right now, there is it is crazy how the the people are responding to what other people are saying and thinking and doing. You can really see the shadow popping out, and you can see the victim consciousness like bam in your face. So anytime that you resonate to being a victim, you're setting yourself up for more trouble, and you don't want that. So when you find yourself going down that road, what you want to do is just stop yourself in your tracks. And what I like to do is just say, no, MarVeena, that's not what you want. And that brings up the next thing that will help you to leapfrog out of that state of consciousness. And that is, well, what is it that you do want? And you really have to dial into the essence and the qualities of what you do want to experience. So if you're afraid of catching the flu, then you stop yourself. No, that's not what I want. What is it that I do want? Well, I like to feel strong. I like to feel vibrant. I like to feel healthy. I like to feel confident that wherever I am guided to go, that I'm safe and I all is well. So when you start to turn those tides, then your vibrations can turn around, and then your point of magnetism is entirely different. Your point of attraction is different. So, and your energy field vibrates at a much different, higher level, so that illness is not able to catch hold. But anytime you get your little self into a pity party and you start a downward spiral about how you have terrible luck and you're a victim and everybody's doing bad things to you or everybody's out to get you, then your vibration just totally tanks, and it is so much easier for you to get sick, to be at the mercy of whatever kind of chaos is going around. So it is wildly important, because that's a huge part of our self mastery, is training ourselves to be mindful of our thoughts. And I talk about this a lot in my self mastery programs, especially my boot camps, that when you have to have tools that you can go to that are very easy for you to access and easy for you to use, and they're just right there in your back pocket. And don't feel like you have to have fancy tools. We don't have to, because our mind and our brains are, they have so much application and magic within them. We have a lot to pull from, so trust that, okay? All right, so all right, we made sure that you put in your intentions. You're dialed in to receive. Shelly H writes in, are my loved ones watching me, watching over me, and how can I find out my guides' names? So, Shelly, our loved ones, they sort of come and go. Like, they don't just stay in your energy field all of the time. They have they are continuing to evolve on other planes on the other side of the veil. So they don't stay with us like all the time, but they do peek in from time to time, just to maybe encourage you subconsciously, but also they visit, especially while you're sleeping, because when you're asleep at night, your your conscious mind is um, of course, quiet. So your unconscious mind can carry on a conversation and a relationship with those that have gone on before you, and not just your family and friends, but you can connect to people that are still living, people that you've never met, and because we're all connected through the God stream essence. So just because you don't know them from your physical state doesn't mean that we don't know them from the spirit world. So your relatives come to visit you, and sometimes your conscious mind will wake up in the morning and you'll have a memory of connecting to someone, or maybe a vague uh, appreciation of the dream, or an idea of maybe a message that they wanted to share with you. And that is always very special. The more that you open yourself up to the possibility, the more that your own family, friends, angels, teachers, guides will be able to bring to you, because your mindset is not closed. If you get into that mindset of when they're dead and gone, there's no turning back, there's no connecting. This, what I can see, is all that is. If you ever get into that frame of mind, then just by the law of attraction, your possibilities are wildly limited. So we really have to just give ourselves permission and just trust that there's more out there than what we can validate with our physical senses. Our physical senses are pretty limited, and but our higher senses are unlimited. And so just trust that. I feel like a name David is connected somehow. So I'm not sure where that is, but I felt like it was. Uh, that is so weird. I've never had that pop up on my screen before, but uh, AOL just popped up on my screen. So that's weird. I don't know what, unless you have a name that starts with an A in your family, like an Al. So let me know, okay? I can't see messages very close, but some of them come in a box and it's hard to make them out. Tanya T writes in, I'm very confused about my path and what I should be doing. How can I better connect to my angels and my guides? So, Tanya, that is a really good question. A lot of us are really going through some doubts about our foundation and everything that I always thought to be this is the way to go. But I feel like you are on a really good path, and I know that because of just the chaos of time and that we're moving to higher levels of consciousness, and it's kind of the idea that if we're willing to open our heart up and really work our personal pieces, that you are going to be able to move to higher levels of consciousness. But you really have to be unto yourself and not worry about how other people are handling things. If they are not, we can only create in our own reality. Other people can learn from our example and from our ideas, but they're only able to learn more when they open their mind and they're willing to make some leaps of consciousness. And there's a lot of times that they are very comfortable now in their old ways of living, doing, experiencing, and they don't want to change. And they're, if they do, they will go kicking and screaming. So be unto yourself and continue with your meditations, keep asking for higher levels of understanding and higher, deeper levels of connection to your higher self, to your most holy guardian angel, and to the spirit guides around you that help to support you and help to kind of position you to move forward. It's not necessary to know their names, but if it's important to you, there are different meditation techniques that you can use to dial in on one particular, either a spirit guide, an animal guide, or an angel guide. One of the techniques that works really well for me is to create sacred space with the elements of the earth present, a candle, some incense, a bowl of water, and something to represent earth like a crystal. Ask your angels, guides, and teachers to sit with you in this safe space and to protect you while you're going into this ceremony. And then just ask one of your angels to step forward, or one of your spirit guides, or one of your animal totems, and ask the rest of them to step back. And you may have to do this meditation for several days in a row before you begin to get information. But you want to just be mindful and aware of what sorts of images come across your mind, or what sorts of ideas or symbols. Is there a fragrance? Are there any shapes? Are there any colors? And after a while, you'll be able to kind of get some insight. And I would always ask, like, what is their role in your spiritual journey? What do they do? What role do they play? And how can I create a deeper relationship with you and a more meaningful one that can help me to elevate my consciousness and move closer to my soul's blueprint, my highest purpose here? And see, this could take a long time. And then you can ask, and then maybe the next week, whenever and I would write everything down, just keep a journal and write all of your notes down. And if you don't think it is a message, but you just kind of feel that there is something about Like, for instance, if they say always work with rosy quartz when you want to connect to me, then then you'll know that whenever you feel like you need to work with the heart center and work with your angels that help you to clear and heal the chakras and bring vibrancy to those centers and help you to work through any issues that are lodged in your tissues in the heart chakra, you'll know. Get out your rosy quartz and maybe your pink candles. So that's to give you clues, and if you keep notes, then you can have that. So you know if you need to work with a particular situation, like, oh yeah, I want to maybe get some roses to put on my altar, and a pink candle and some rosy quartz and maybe some even rose water, and that helped me to connect to one of my guides. So my one of my guides' name is actually Rosie, and she brought her name to my attention through a meditation just like this. And then once you feel like you're complete with that um, quality, that guide, that aspect of yourself, because they're all kind of aspects of ourself. We are multidimensional, and I know it's difficult for us to get our mind around when we're really working this illusion of separation right now, but we all multidimensional. And so then you go to your next guide and you just ask for Rosie to step back and ask for another guide to step forward. And you might need to do that meditation for a week, maybe a month, who knows? You may work with this for several months before you feel like you have kind of got the downloads that they want to bring to you, or the idea of the name. For the most part, our angels have names that are out of our scope to be able to comprehend, because our true names are like a vibration. And so you may feel something that feels like gobbledygook or like another language, or undiscernible, but ask them to kind of bring it down into as close of a representation as you can get, that you can understand. So it might not be rosy, it might be, but that might be the closest that we can understand it. So I know that is kind of an awkward thing, but the more you just keep asking for a deeper connection, that's going to really be helpful. A lot of times we get a quick little connection, and we just we leave it at that whenever we could get more. So train yourself to ask for more, and if you do, you're a lot more likely to get more. Okay, so what else do we have here? All right, so Lisa writes, I want my light to shine, but I don't know how to get noticed. So Lisa R. So Lisa, this is I wouldn't worry about getting noticed. So don't fret about that, because there are a lot of us that are positioned in different areas on Earth's grid, and our soul positioned us there for a reason. And it might be that our quotient of light that we have gained in other lifetimes and our understanding is going to be sort of like a beacon for other people in this lifetime. So what I would just suggest is working your personal pieces as best you can. Keep asking angels to help you activate more of your light codes, more of your own your chakras, and to really dial in on what areas in your chakra system need to be cleared out. Like if you have any baggage or any sadness or any owies in there that really need to be dealt with, just ask your angels, help me to figure out where I have issues that are buried in the tissues. So once you have an awareness, like, oh, you know what, I have a area. And once you dial into that, then you know, I have this to work on, and just create the intention to uh, position yourself to be able to let go of that resentment or that pain or anger or that frustration or whatever negative emotion that that place and time and that person kind of did for you, like however they hurt you or wounded you. And make sure that you call back your power, call back your soul pieces from that person if they stole it from you, or sometimes we give away our power. A lot of times we do that. So this is a time where Mother Earth is really calling us to be sovereign and to understand ourselves as multidimensional aspects of the divine mind. And nobody needs our soul pieces or our power but us. And we need all of it in order to fully be in a position to actualize our soul's highest dream while we're here. Nobody else can use our magic and our stuff but us. And so they don't need it. Sometimes we give away our power because we think that they need it more than we do. It's not the case. They have their own connection to the divine mind. They have their own power package with everything they need to come into this dimension. So don't feel sorry for people because it's judging their journey here. So I hope that answered your question there. Okay. Hey, everybody. Thank you. Hi, Dana. It's good to see you there. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Kelly. So, one thing that the angels wanted me to bring up in this session today is just the magic of the number of the year. This year is 2020, and that, how does that say? It's like, what is perfect vision? It's 2020. So this year is a perfect time for us to really work with our own teams and our guides and our own angels to help us pull ourselves out of the little me and step up into the higher aspects of ourself where we can see clearly and see with perfect vision. So if you feel like you have not been able to see clearly, and I'm really not talking about physical vision, I'm talking about seeing through all of the drama, the trauma, the chaos, and the stuff. Um, to keep working with your guides and angels and teachers to help you see through with 2020 vision to whatever madness is going on, whatever the media is, the ideas, the themes that they're bringing to your attention. If you look from your higher self, you're going to be able to see through um, any any lie that they might be wanting to scare you with, and to use that to control you. It's so important right now that when we find ourselves in an icky state, an icky frame of mind, that we find our go-to place. My go-to place is in the backyard. I have a water garden back there and my plants and the dogs running around, the horses and the birds and the butterflies and all of that. And that is where I can unplug from whatever cell phones and computer systems and cable systems, microwaves, whatever antennas that are directed to my house, I have to go and plug. And that is another big theme for you to take away from today, is to make sure that you regularly unplug from whatever frequencies that could be distorting your connection to your angels and to creation and to your relatives. Find a way to unplug. I have to do it outside. My house is small, so it's really hard to get away from the different systems that we need to operate our lives, and find your place to unplug, and that's going to serve you really well. All right, so another question that we had is let's see, is it? Okay, so Jan wants to know what do the letters mean for QAnon? So QAnon is it's kind of it's a buzzword, and there's a lot of buzzwords right now that are going around, but it's like a government official that has like top clearance, and I don't really know like what their little letters are, but evidently the Q is like this person is able to see documents that are top secret, top clearance. Is That's what it means. Is Q means top clearance for top secret information and documents. So they have access. So it is supposedly, and I don't know, I haven't met them, um, but it's supposedly someone that is in a higher level of our government in the United States, who has access to these high level documents, and he feels like they are important to the mainstream for us to be aware that there's stuff coming in that hasn't been brought to our attention, but maybe should be brought to our attention. And so the Anon is short for anonymous, so QAnon. And there are a lot of hashtags. So if you want to read more about that, you just have to follow the hashtags and do some of your research on the internet. But I would just research Q and QAnon, follow the hashtags. Supposedly, they send out messages on a regular basis, but they're all coded. So you have to really use your skills of discernment to figure out what those codes are, what the messages might be about, and how they're relevant to us. But you know what? Each and every one of us, we're just wired to understand symbolism. I mean, that symbols are a part of our DNA. And on an intuitive, unconscious level, we really rock symbolism. And once you just kind of recognize that about yourself and be willing to engage with that from like a playful state of mind, it really helps you to kind of dial in and look around for what those messages and those clues might be guiding you toward. And I think it's awesome to kind of use your brain like that and give it some jobs to do that take you out of your comfort zone and take you out of your normal way of perceiving information and data, and then running it through your own filters of discernment in order to gauge how it's relevant to you, or if it is, or does it have a ring of truth or not. All right. So Melissa wants to know when the chapter in her life, where the chapter in her life is going, that she's so confused. One of the things that I would suggest, Melissa, is every day when you wake up, create the intention to be in the sweet spot of your soul's path and purpose today. So when you create that intention, you're sort of giving it up to God to deal with, or to the Holy Spirit, to Goddess, however you like to think, a higher power, but you are aligning yourself with your higher purpose when you create that intention. Today, I intend to be in the sweet spot of my soul's highest path purpose. And just by making that statement and that declaration, that helps you to align yourself with that. Kind of sets your GPS, like your internal guidance system, to back to home, and it starts guiding you towards the things that are relevant and important. And I suspect a big part of what's going on is maybe worried about how other people are interacting, or what is your relationship, or how that might impact you. So we have to realize we can only create in our own reality, and we have to take charge of our thoughts, how we're running our energy toward the things that are most important for us. And if we are making sure every day that we are putting some life force energy in the way of visualizing, scripting, in speaking out loud, or writing, or drawing, or producing art towards the things that we want to experience, and realizing ourselves as a determiner, as a creator. And one of the things that empowers you is when you just make that leap of consciousness in your mind, where you know, I am a creator, I am a determiner. And that's way more powerful than thinking to yourself that I take what life brings me, or I'm at the mercy of what my husband does or wants or thinks, or my boyfriend or my children, that my happiness is at their mercy, or that my contentment, or that my ability to succeed in life, it's not at their mercy. We really have to pull ourselves back from other people's business and how they're designing their journey, because that can just really take us off the track, and we get going down another track, and all of a sudden we run out of tracks, and we're like, all right, now what do I do? So you have to back up, and you have to get aligned with your own path. You may have to back up a long ways, and all of that is helped whenever we are making sure to give ourselves some time every day to sit with spirit, even if it's 5 minutes in the shower, the bathtub, or out on the backyard, or wherever, like I was talking to, how important it is to unplug from the phone, from the kids, from day to day, and find your place in nature that speaks to you and allows you to really get more on purpose towards what's really important. So that's what you want to think about. And if it's just as vague right now as I intend to be in my soul's path, that's fine. Because that statement, it sends a signal to the universe. I'm willing to align myself, and the universe will answer you back. And it might be a phone call. Somebody might say, I feel like you should really, read this article, or I'd like to take you to this event that I think will be meaningful or powerful. It might be a book that has like one sentence in that whole book that turns your whole thought process around. But whatever it is, like one thing will lead to another, and it'll lead to a connection or a relationship or a phone call or a video like today, or something that you change in your lifestyle. And once you change that, like stop eating sugar, your whole body starts to be in a position to make some positive changes. But sometimes we have to purge or purify or detox, and that might be attachments to relationships that are toxic. It might be um, letting go of attachments to ways of thinking that are sabotaging you, or letting go of attachments to things that we like to eat and drink that are sabotaging your physical body. So we're made for our system to all work together, like the organs in our body and our brain. Once they get really toxic, they can't help the brain cells to fire as with as much clarity and vibrancy, and help us to pull in a life force energy that can be healing. And it whenever we are out in the sun, like the sunlight brings coded messages in the sun rays. But if our system is toxic and has a lot of pollution within our own biology, we're not going to be able to decode the information that is streaming to us. So take baby steps, and you'll be able to get some really good epiphanies. A lot of times our ego gets set on an idea that I know I'm going to be successful when I have $1 million in the bank, and my husband and I have brand new cars and an fancy house, and that's success. But our higher self has no attachment to any of that stuff. And our our higher selves ideas of a successful journey are totally different than our egos usually. So when we let ourselves pull out of the ego and into the higher self, we're going to start to feel more confident about why we do what we do, even when we feel maybe afraid to do it. Like I am shy. It's not like my favorite thing on earth to talk to a lot of people. And well, I'm not terribly shy. I mean, I'm sort of shy, but we may be challenged, but feel the rightness of why we're doing it, and that helps to give us the strength to do that. So anyhow, I hope these ideas help you. And the big takeaways are unplug and find a place in nature, because that can really help you to reconnect to what's truly important. And elementals can help you to detox whatever is kind of clogging up the pathways, and that's really important. One of my favorite meditations, though, in to find a place in nature that has a natural opening. So think about a tree that has a squirrel or some animal has burrowed into an old tree trunk, and there's like an opening in that tree, and that is like it's kind of like a doorway between worlds. And so you can use that to go into other dimensions, to meet one of your angels. You want to create that intention before you go in. But even if you're in the house, you can imagine a tree by your driveway where there's this amazing little kind of portal way between the world. But just imagine yourself going going into this tree, just take essence of yourself and narrow it down into just energy, and allow yourself to float all the way into that tree, into that opening, trusting that your angels have shields of protection around you, and having the intention to meet one of your angels on the higher realms so that you can have a conversation, that you can bring back some ideas into this dimension that can help you to move forward towards what's really important for you to be a part of. So I like to do this meditation, the actual tree, and I think it's better if you have actually seen this in nature. I meditate in my backyard most of the time, but my tree is in the front yard that has that hole in it. And so I just imagine myself sitting under my meditation place and going to I call it my magic tree, and always asking your angels to go with you and set these shields of protection around you. And be sure and do some grounding before you do this exercise. A simple way is just to imagine that there is a cord that's running down your spine, and just tying that off into the center of the earth, and intending to be very grounded into the earth, and then you do your meditation. So that is a very simple way to work with the nature spirits, to connect to your own guides and teachers and your angels that way. So, so anyhow, my time is up for today. Thank you all for stopping by. If you'd like to learn some more ideas about how you can work closer with your own angels, be sure and sign up for my free Angel Connection ebook. I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you.